everyone, welcome. This is Mompreneurs to Millionaires. I'm so excited. This is the first live of 2026. Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully you had a fabulous holiday and everyone's feeling rested and ready to get going. Let's build momentum for 2026. I am so excited. This is the year for women, right? This is a year for women businesses. I'm claiming it. We're doing it. So we're all going to rise together, right? That is always my plan in life. All right, so today's topic is TikTok tips. If you have been thinking about going over on TikTok, it is a hilariously and fun, hilarious space. So if you're thinking about going on TikTok, definitely check it out. But if you are wanting to grow on TikTok for your business, we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about what to post and how to help it grow your business. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss it. Let me know if you are watching on the live, just type live below, or if you're watching on the replay, just say replay below. I'd love to know who's coming in the day of and who's coming in a little bit later. Awesome, so glad you're here. Thanks for being here. All right, tell me below in the comments, have you thought about being on TikTok? Or if you're on TikTok already and confused about how to help it grow your business, if you have questions about TikTok, tell me below what are your feelings about TikTok? Do you like it? Do you hang out there for fun, for just kind of for your personal profile, or are you there on business? Tell me below how you feel about TikTok. Awesome. So today we're going to talk about it, right? We're going to talk all about, I'm going to give you 4 ideas on what to post about and how to make it work for your business. And I'm going to share a little bit of a secret sauce about my cross-platform approach to getting leads every single day. So you definitely want to stick around for that. All right, so thanks so much to everyone who voted. Every Tuesday in my group, this is Mompreneurs to Millionaires, so glad you're here. Every Tuesday, I put out a poll on what we should talk about. So every week I do these free trainings, and I love getting to know what questions keep coming up for your business. So if you have a question that is burning in your business that is holding you back, tell me below, or you can always private message me. What do you feel like is, what information, what knowledge, what do you need to know in this new year for to really help move your business forward? I would love to hear what questions keep coming up for you. Is it, how do I get more clients, right? That's usually number 1. How do I get qualified leads? I keep getting on calls with people who are not quite in my target audience, right? How do I qualify? I keep getting followers. I keep getting reach, but no one is clicking and buying, right? If you feel like you are in this boat, if you feel like you are posting and hoping, right? That is my jam. I would love to talk to you about getting a better strategy, right? It is not about having less control of your business, right? And just kind of spraying and putting your information and just hoping it lands on the right ears, right? That is not what marketing is. That is a spray and hope approach. That is posting and hoping. That is not getting you anywhere. And what I often hear is, oh, I just need more, right? I just need more audience, more eyeballs. I need a bigger audience. I need to be more consistent. And to me, consistent sounds like more, right? And often that is not the case. If you try doing more of something that's not working, right? Newsflash, it's not gonna get you more. It's not gonna get you more clients. It's not gonna magically work overnight, right? So if you feel like you are stuck in this posting and hoping strategy, definitely feel free to say strategy below. I offer a free social media audit that really turns into what I call a sexy systems audit. I'm an engineer by trade, and I'm on a mission to make systems sexy, right? Because they are not, right? Systems are usually something that does not sound like fun, but I'm on a mission to make it fun and something that lights you up every day. Because if you have a system that lights you up every single day, you are going to be more consistent, and especially if it's getting results, right? So I want to help you build systems that actually get results, actually get leads, actually turn into clients. So if that's something you're interested in, just say strategy below. I would love to hop on that free call with you and talk about your overall strategy system, right? And help you find something that feels aligned with you and that actually works. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss it. So I always like to start these videos with, let's put on our abundance crown, right? We are all in business. We are looking to create abundance in our life, right? And we are all goddesses. So I would invite you to put on that crown and really think about what abundance means for you. Because what it means for me is that all things are possible, right? But all things are possible and you have the power to change, right? It is not about somewhere out in the internet until the algorithm works for me, then I'll get clients, right? No, you have the power to change. You have the power. So with that abundance crown, I invite you to write down 2 action items from this video. You can download all the free material in the world, right? All the free courses, take in all of this, consume all this free information. But if it's not something that you can actually move your business on, it is a waste of your time, right? So think about as you're watching this video today, and think about what's an aha moment that is new, and write that down, or what is an action that I can actually try in my business. And with that abundance crown, right, really be open-minded to, okay, if I'm here for a reason, right? I'm watching this video because something in my business is maybe not working. I'm trying something new. I'm curious, right? But what is actually going to move your business forward is action, right? You are here. You're a go-getter. You are resourceful, right? I know you can do it on your own, but definitely taking action is what's going to move your business forward. So write down those 2 action items, and I would love to hear them. Feel free to post them or comment below, or you can send them to me in a message too and just be like, oh my God, I'm going to try this in my business, right? I'd love to hear. All right, you're a go-getter, don't forget. All right, if you're new here, my name is Christina, and I have been an entrepreneur, I feel like forever, right? I always like to bring up, lately I've been thinking about my babysitting days, right? Anyone a babysitter when you were younger, right? My daughter is getting to the age where she might start babysitting, so I'm like, oh my gosh, that brings back so many memories, right? Of I really turned it into my business, right? I feel like that was really my first business. I was so excited to be making my own money, right? My dad made us little business cards and everything. So tell me if you were a babysitter below, right? I feel like that was definitely the first entrepreneurial spirit that really struck me. But really, I started my first little Etsy shop back in 2010. And if any of you were right on Etsy back then or are on Etsy now, it's beautiful, right? But what I quickly realized is the internet is gigantic, right? You can't just build it and people will come, right? Unfortunately, you cannot just set up shop, create a website, set up your social media profiles and just hope that people will come, because they don't. Right? And that is why you're here probably, right? You have started a business and you're curious as to how to get the word out, right? So in 2010, I quickly realized this and had to figure out very quickly, how do I get my little Etsy shop seen? And what really worked for me was, newsflash, Facebook groups, right? And if you have stuck around here at all, Facebook groups, that's my favorite thing to talk about, because I think it is the quickest and easiest sales funnel that every business can use to get leads every single day. That is really what I think is part of the secret sauce, but I'm gonna share a little bit more about this cross-platform approach in just a minute. But so I learned at the Etsy, when I had my little Etsy shop, that Facebook groups really helped me grow my Etsy shop, right? Getting to know other Etsy shop owners, sharing their stuff. They would share my stuff, we would buy stuff from each other, and really get the algorithm working for us. So Facebook groups back then was really valuable. I didn't have one of my own, and I wish I had thought about creating one. Fast forward 2014, my husband and I started a little bike shop, coffee shop. I love, right, if you watch any of my videos, I love talking about the bike shop because it was such a lesson, right? Such a life lesson for so many reasons. I always say I am so glad that it happened, and I am so glad that it quote unquote failed, right? I never consider it a failure because I learned so much, and I wouldn't be here, right? If it hadn't failed, and I'm so happy where I am now, much happier than back then. But it was such a dream business. We loved, right? It was a perfect little, perfect business of our marriages, of our marriage, our 2 loves in my marriage. My husband loves bikes, I love coffee. So together we have this beautiful, we called it the Bike and Brew, and it was so much fun. We loved getting to know our community. But we really were smacked in that face of, okay, you build this beautiful bike shop, right? You have the right colors, you have the right furniture, the right products, the right coffee maker, the right coffee, all the beautiful things. And no one showed up. Not no one, right? But you know what I mean? People did not just show up. I really thought that they would if we had the right location, all those things. So again, I quickly realized that you have to go to your customers, right? You have to go to them. And in person, that looks a little bit different than online, right? Online, this can look a number of different ways. But just setting up your social media profile, unfortunately, is not going to your audience, right? That's more like a billboard, like, hey, I'm here I am, hopefully you can see me, right? That is not going to your audience. You really have to go to them and get them warmed up into your world. And so online, I think the Facebook group is the best way to do this. So at the bike shop, we quickly realized that here in our community, right, you guys are probably part of many Facebook groups in your local communities. They're very prevalent here. So we thought, okay, we'll start our own Facebook group. And that was my first Facebook group back in 2014. And that was such a success for that business. We were able to create events, bike rides. We really built our community. And what we really found out, right, was that our customer base changed or wasn't what we thought it was heading into that business, right? We really thought we were going to cater to the higher end bikes, and turns out, right, families need far more, there are far more families in our community, and they need bikes, they need repairs, they need, right, all kinds of things, and they like to come in and hang out at coffee shops. So we really had to switch our method and our target audience for that business. And then we really had to figure out, okay, where do the families hang out, right? Where can I go to my audience? And that's really, then we created all kinds of marketing around this, right? I could talk for days about the freebies that we set up, and creating cute coupons and coloring pages and all that. You've heard me talk about these before, but definitely going to where your audience is and capturing their information, right? It is not enough to just post on social media, unfortunately, and hope, right? I love talking to my clients. I worked with so many different clients that were in this phase of, well, I don't know what to do next. It's not working, right? I'm posting. Maybe I need to post more. Maybe I need to do more. And it is not about doing more, right? It is about doing less, but doing more fine-tune and more intentional actions that are actually going to get you results. Posting more, if your posts are not working, posting more is not going to get you more clients, right? Unfortunately. So doing more of something that isn't working is definitely not going to get you better results, right? So with that, right, I think Facebook groups is the best way to capture your audience. So you can still post. I think it's important to post and kind of have your bookmark, I say, kind of on the internet. Here I am, this is me, here's my business. But you've got to find a way to capture your audience. You need to get them in your world, on your email list, in the DMs. You need to capture your audience. And I think the easiest way to do this is with a Facebook group. You all are, right, you're part of my Facebook group. If you're probably in many other Facebook groups. We all are in a lot of Facebook groups. To me, I think it is a very easy ask. I think it's far easier asking people to join your Facebook group than to ask them to sign up for your email, right? I think it's a much easier, think about your own habits, right? Would you be more willing to sign up for someone's or join someone's Facebook group or sign up for their newsletter, right? You'd probably be more willing to just hop on a Facebook group, right? We're in so many, it's no big thing. We understand how they work. We trust Facebook, right? For the most part, we're on there every day. So it's a great place, I think, to really build your audience and build that community. And that's what I learned at the bike shop was so important about capturing your community and building it together, right? I really think that's how and why a Facebook group is so important for every business. So if you're new to Facebook groups, right, or if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I love talking about Facebook groups. I would love to help you build yours to make sure that you are getting 5 to 10 qualified leads to your business every single day. And it starts with just that free social media audit. We can start there. As well as a sexy systems audit. I love looking at your overall strategy and how we can get all the pieces that you've already started, right, working together. That's what's so frustrating as a business owner. I was there for many years, right, stuck in a posting and hoping strategy, but feeling like you've tried all the things, right? You're doing all the things. I'm posting here, and oh, I heard about this, and I should be on this, and this is, it's a little bit of that shiny object syndrome where we see a new thing. Oh, I'll try this. Oh, I'll try this. I'll throw money at that, right? But without a consistent strategy and an overall plan, it's going to be really hard to make any of that work for you, right? So it's about using the pieces that you've already started. So you might have an email list, you might have a website, you might have a Facebook group, but maybe it's not all connected and working for you. And that's where I can really come in and help you build that system to get you leads every day. That's the goal. So back to TikTok, right? Obviously back in 2014, TikTok was not around, so we did not use it for my bike shop. But if any of you remember Musical.ly, right? Do any of you remember Musical.ly? I think that's the start of TikTok. My niece was on Musical.ly and we thought it was such an interesting place, right? It was so, we were hesitant of it, of course, at the beginning, but then it was just kind of fun and hilarious, right? And that's really what TikTok turned into is just kind of a fun and I call it more of a, you know, very casual place, right? It's very real. And that's what I love about TikTok. I find more hilarious content over there that really just makes me laugh. So that's what I love about TikTok. I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing that you love about TikTok if you're on there? So we can all kind of hear from each other. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So the problem with TikTok for business, right? So now let's get down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to share my 4 ideas on TikTok, how to post or what content to post over there and how to get it kind of working for your business. So over on TikTok, you may get stuck in this mindset, right? It's very easy to do because all social media, right, is really designed to get you addicted to likes and views, right? We know this. I'm sure you've heard this. It's designed that way to get you to use it more, right? Well, if I'm getting a few likes, I must just need more of that, right? But from a business standpoint, if people are just liking and not clicking and not doing any action, they may like your content, right? But it's not motivating them to do anything. And you need action takers. I would never call a follower a lead, right? To me, a lead is an action taker, someone who has signed up for your newsletter, joined your Facebook group, or actually DM'd you and said that they're interested in your product or service, not just DMing you about their service or product, right? It's real easy to get DMs. You've probably gotten those spammy DMs, right? That's not the point, is to get more DMs to your business of people who are not interested, of course. You want to get people who are actually interested in your stuff. And you've got to get them to take action. And it's really hard, I think, to get anyone to take action on a regular social media profile, right? Especially if it's Instagram, right? Most people are not clicking on Instagram. They are just scrolling and maybe liking. And especially, I think, on TikTok, as well as a business page on Facebook, right? If you just have a business page on Facebook, that is the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately, of the algorithm. So if you are only relying on likes and comments from your business profile and no one is clicking, it's going to be really hard to get people to convert. So this is where you need to get people to take action. So over on TikTok, the best way to get people to take action is to ask, right? So we are going to get to that. So that's going to really be my number 2. But my first thing about TikTok, and I believe this is still a setting, if you are a business on TikTok, you really want to get to 1,000 followers. And it's really easy to get to 1,000 followers. You follow your audience, right? This is the method I use on all social media platforms. You really want to follow who your target audience is. So it's really important, obviously, to define that. But follow the people that you want to work with, right? Figure out, stalk them a little bit, right? Are they in your target audience? Follow them, and usually most people will follow you back. But then the next step, right? So get to 1,000 followers because you over on TikTok, because then you can have a link. Now, I believe if you are just a person on TikTok, you can add a link without getting to 1,000 followers. But I think also 1,000 followers, maybe you can go live, something to do. 1,000 followers seems like the magic number over there on TikTok. So it's pretty easy to do. It's a great goal, right? In the process, you will find your audience, and if you follow them, you'll get their content in your feed and all of those things, get that algorithm working for you. So if you get that link in your profile, right, then that's at least one place for people to click. And I would always shoot for having it be your Facebook group as your link. I think you can add a number of different links. You can also connect your YouTube and your Instagram. So that would be another way, for people to get a hold of you if they want it. But again, I think most social media platforms, people are not clicking. People are not clicking the link in bio, right? Tell me below if you feel like people are clicking. I really think, and I would say Instagram is the least clickable, right? Out of all the social media platforms. And TikTok's probably second to least, right? That I don't think people are clicking on links in profiles. So it's a great goal to get to 1,000, but right, I don't think that's the end goal. The number 1 goal, and this is my number 2 tip for today, is to invite your followers, if they're in your target audience, invite your followers from TikTok in the DMs to your Facebook group, right? This is a cross-platform approach, is that you want to get them into a place where you can warm them up, right? It's going to be really hard to warm them up on TikTok because you're at the mercy of the algorithm, right? And again, the algorithm is going to change tomorrow. If you go viral, right, it's going to be really hard to go viral again. Like if we're just chasing views and likes, it's not really growing our business. Sure, we might be growing a following, but if no one is acting I would not call that leads, right? If you're just growing followers and you're growing views, and I always say this, views are very deceiving, right? If you feel like, oh, I got 1,000 views on that one. Oh, 500 on that one. That's great. And that's good. Mostly views are not necessarily people who are seeing your video. It is that your video may have shown up in their feed, may have, right? It could have been at the bottom of their feed and they never got there, right? They could have scrolled right past and never actually seen it. That counts as a view, but that person really didn't see your video or watch it all the way through, right? So views, I think, are very deceiving. It's great. Of course, you want a lot of views because the more chance of being in their feed, the more chance someone might watch it. But again, I would not chase those view numbers because, right, that's really not being effective. If it's not working, I wouldn't do more of that, right? It's great to post, and I think it's a great way to practice. I love practicing, my videos. I love practicing speaking, pitching, right? Teaching. I love all of those things. So I think it's important to go live. I think it's important to create videos and get comfortable with yourself and get comfortable with your offers and get comfortable with your services. But I would not rely on TikTok to get you to be the sole place of getting leads or customers, right? It's very hard, I think, to convert people from Instagram or really any social media profile or TikTok to convert them right to a customer, right? It's really hard for people to see you once, never know you from, a stranger on the street, and buy something, right? Especially if you're a coach and you're in the high ticket market, right? And you're trying to get high ticket leads. People are not going to just buy from you on TikTok, right? Newsflash. It is about building relationships, right? So I always like to say content is not king, right? I think it is far more important to focus on relationships. And the best way to do that is to hop in the DMs, right? Get in a conversation, invite them over to your Facebook group. So I think that is the best way to convert people and get leads from TikTok is build up your following, right? Get to those 1,000 followers, follow people in your target audience. If they have liked your video, if they have liked your content, if they have followed you, I would send them a message, right? Hey, thanks so much for the follow. I'm talking more about this stuff over in my Facebook group. We'd love to have you, right? Thanks so much for the like on my video. I saw that you were interested in my content on blah, blah, blah. I'm sharing more free resources and tips over in my Facebook group. We'd love to have you. And that is what is so important about using all of your social media platforms in a system that actually gets you leads, actually gets you people that are taking action. And I think joining your Facebook group and answering those 3 entry questions is far more important action than just liking or commenting over on social media. So that is my number 2 tip for today, but really my number 1 is get in the DMs and invite them over to your Facebook group. I think that is the best way to get people from TikTok into your world and convert them into actual paying customers. That is the secret sauce. All right. So number 3 tip for TikTok is, and you've probably, right, this goes back to the Musical.ly days, but use the trending sounds, right? If you're wanting a lot more eyeballs or you're wanting to jumpstart the algorithm, check the trending sounds, right? So I love the if you're an Etsy shop, right, they have all the cute little jingles, right? So you can show a behind the scenes, pack an order with me, or behind the scenes at your desk, doing stuff on your computer. Those are all great, and there's cute little jingles and sounds that can go along with that. So of course it's great to talk, right? You could do a live video and just share some information. That's great too. But definitely try some of the trending sounds. So those can be music, right? It can be, and as a business owner, I think you are restricted. If you're a business on TikTok, which I always suggest, because that's usually what you're on there for, you're restricted to certain sounds. So just check, what those sounds are that are available to you, but definitely, play around with some of those cute trending sounds. You don't have to dance by any means, right? I've never danced on TikTok, although I would love to get my daughter to, right? Wouldn't that be so fun? But no, I've never danced on TikTok, but you could totally do that if you're into it, right? But definitely play around with those trending sounds, because I think those are really cute. You've probably seen the pointing. It's just like a trendy sound, and it's just you pointing. So you don't even have to talk, but you're pointing to different words, cute jingles, right? Whatever is relatable to your business. There's definitely some calming sounds. If you're in the wellness industry, there's a lot of cute wellness sounds. If you're in the mindset coaching, definitely there's some inspirational sounds and, kind of funny things all over there as well. So definitely check out trending sounds. So that's my number 3 tip. If you're trying to figure out some content, it's a great place to kind of get inspired over there. And then number 4 is CapCut. Have any of you used CapCut, right? I'd love to hear. CapCut is a great add-on to TikTok. It's a separate app, but it works really seamlessly together. And they have so many different templates. So what is beautiful about CapCut is you could have different pictures and you just upload, like you pick a template and you just upload like 5 pictures to this template and it'll create this really cool, moving, blah, 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 whatever, cool video. And you can add music and it's great. So CapCut, I think, is a really easy app and great place to create content for TikTok. And it's fun to play around and easy. I think it's user-friendly and stuff like that. But again, I would be very careful about focusing so much on content because, again, I really want you to be focused on building relationships, and that is what's going to happen in the DMs. So, I don't think it's about posting every day. I don't think it's about posting 3 times a day by any means, right? Content is not converting. If it's not already converting, stop creating a bunch of more content. Stop focusing on content. Focus on relationships. Get people over to your Facebook group, and this is where you can have those discussions and really get to know your audience and get some of that feedback, right, that you've been wanting. Is this resonating with people? Is my offer something that people even need, right? That's going to happen over in your Facebook group, and that is where you can get that valuable information to really fine-tune your message and work on your offer. I always say, if your content is not converting, it is not that you need to change your content. Right? It is not that you need a new offer, a new message. It is not that you need, prettier pictures. It's not your content. It is that most likely not enough people are seeing it and you don't have enough feedback to even decide what to change, right? I would never change anything until you have actual feedback from your target audience. And random followers are not the people who you need to give feedback from, right? You need feedback from your actual target audience, and that's going to happen over in your Facebook group where you can build those relationships and start those conversations to figure that out, right? So I always say, if you're working on building the perfect product, the perfect course, the perfect service, and you don't have actual data from paying customers yet, right? You really want to make sure you're getting feedback from your customers. And so I would not focus so much on your product, especially if you're still at the beginning and you're trying to figure out what exactly your offer, or if you're kind of pivoting in your business and you're creating a new offer. I would never spend so much time in perfecting this offer and messaging and service and fine-tuning all of this stuff and building the perfect website and the perfect this without having an audience. What's beautiful about your Facebook group is that it is your target audience. It is your perfect little petri dish to warm them up and figure out what they need, right? Ask them questions, figure out what they need, then design offers and services around what they need and what they want and what words resonate with them, right? How you package your services and offers obviously is going to matter. And that's going to matter to your target audience over in your Facebook group. It is really hard, I think, to get feedback from your social media profiles, right? Most people are not commenting and necessarily interacting a ton over there. Most people are just scrolling, maybe liking, and then even rarely commenting, right? So I think it's hard to get actual feedback over there. It's better to get people into your Facebook group and warm them up and use that as your sales funnel and grow your email list and nurture them in the Facebook group and nurture them with your email list. I think that is the quickest and easiest way to generate leads every single day. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely, again, feel free to just say strategy below. I would love to reach out to you and talk about your overall lead generation strategy, right? If you're feeling stuck in your business, it is not about trying, a little more DIY, right? I know you're resourceful. I know you could probably do it, but I don't want you to waste years, right? I wasted years in a DIY mode, and it rarely moved my business forward, or it was so slow that it was so discouraging, and I nearly quit 1,000 times, right? How many of you have tried a million different strategies, nothing's worked, and you're ready to give up, right? If you're there, I was there for sure. And it was not until I hired a coach who could help me with not only implementing her strategy, but knowing exactly what strategy works And having that accountability partner is so important, as well as addressing some of your mindset issues, right? I think mindset is everything. And of course, I always say coaching is such a transformational service. We're offering transformation to our customers, but more often than not, we are transforming ourselves, right? We are finding out who we are and what it's going to take to get us to that next level. And I really think all successful coaches use other coaches. That is really what I believe. And so it wasn't until I hired a coach that I actually could move my business forward and started getting those high ticket clients. So if you are someone who is kind of stuck in this posting and hoping and wondering, how you're going to get your next client, wondering how you're going to get leads, let's talk, because I would love to help you build that system that lights you up and feels aligned with you to actually get your target audience into your world and warm them up and start talking about the things you want to talk about, right? Get them interested in that transformation that you offer into the results that you're selling, right? Get them interested and get them warmed up and start those relationships. That's really what it's going to take. So I always like to say too that if you feel like, it's hard to invest, I absolutely understand that. It is hard to take that leap of faith, but I always say that staying stuck is far scarier than taking that leap of faith out of your comfort zone, right? Growth is not going to happen inside your comfort zone. If you are ready to make moves in your business for 2026, right? I am on a mission to build women businesses up, right? We rise together. It is so important for me to share my knowledge with you. And I just really believe that if we all have access to the right knowledge, the right strategies, we can all be successful and we rise together, right? Let's do it. We are going together. I am bringing you with me, right? So come on board. Let's do this. 2026 is going to be a great year. So I'm really excited. Tell me, right? Tell me below if you're on board. 2026. Woo! Yes, I am on board. Awesome. So I always like to say too, right? If you do not have a plan to move your business forward, you know that you're stuck and you don't have a plan, then what, right? To me, that is far scarier because you don't have hope, right? If well, I've tried some of this DIY on my own and nothing's worked, or I've tried some of these, cheaper courses and it hasn't gotten me anywhere. It's really about the implementation and the mindset piece, right? And to me, I really feel like that's where a personal coach, a one-on-one experience can really help you dive into what matters to you and what's going to feel aligned with you. Sales to me is something that is doable for everyone, right? I don't know if any of you have heard, right? I feel like I heard all growing up like, oh, I'm bad at sales. Women aren't good at sales, blah, 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 right? And to me, that is such a mindset shift to understand that, okay, I haven't been taught skills, right? I've never been taught sales skills. I think men naturally, right, around each other, or it's more okay for men to have some of those sales skills. So their natural abilities are encouraged. Whereas women, right, she's too bossy, she's too forward. So we err on the side of being much more passive, right? And I think that does a disservice because then we think, oh, sales is a dirty word, right? And to me, it's just finding the right aligned strategy. It is about learning the right sales skills that are going to move your business forward and feel good to you, right? Nobody wants to be salesy, right? Nobody wants to be pushy. Nobody wants to be sold to, right? But we are all in a business and we have services that we know our customers need, right? And that is about coming from a place of serving our customers as opposed to just selling. But I am definitely in the business of serving and helping you grow because I really want us all to be successful, right? We're all going to be millionaires. We're doing it. Yeah, 2026, it's happening. Awesome. So if any of this resonates with you, I would love to hear from you. If you want that free social media audit, or if you want to talk strategy, right? Just say strategy below. I would love to chat with you more. If you have any questions about TikTok or just your overall lead generation, feel free to reach out to me, or you can post those as well below. And I'm so excited for this year. Thanks so much for sticking around. That is it for today.